Alright, I just tried a couple more times, different throttle positions. Same old, same old. I got my stop lever in. So I know that's not it. I checked the linkage to make sure the stop lever wasn't hanging up. That's not it. There's something else wrong with this puppy. So, I'll tell you what I'd really like to do is take this quick coupling off and bring it back to the shop and see if I can't fix it. There we go, much better. Now I can pound on this on the bench to my heart's delight to see if I can't get it to come apart, although it looks like, well, he told me he tried banging on it to get it off, and it looks like that's kind of peeing this over a little bit. Well, no harm in banging on it, because worst case scenario is I break it and have to replace it, which is where I was probably heading with this thing anyways. So, that being said, let's see. Of course, now I got a pipe thread. I got a male pipe thread, and I got a male pipe thread. Nah, I didn't want that. I wanted to screw that into there so that I didn't have to worry about fluid coming out and water getting in. Although I don't know how much more water could get into this fluid than it already has in it, but fluid actually in the back didn't look too bad. Yeah. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll have to go back to the truck and get something to cover this up. Oh, these mosquitoes. I'm just gonna stick this thing facing down, and that ought to keep the fluid from leaking out of it. And because it's this is the high point now, it's above the reservoir, and no rain can go into it because it's not facing up. And that one, I'll see if I can't find a can or something around here to cover it, because I am not hiking all the way out of here and back in. There you go, a bubble wrap bag. Happen to have it in my little cardboard box I used to tote my tools down here. Not very high tech. If we don't get any high winds, should be okay. Yeah, mosquitoes. Oh, that's what they all were. They were in the shade. Must be getting close to supper time because they came out to see me. Boy, are they wrong. Time to see if we can't force this coupling open. I went online trying to find this coupling. I think I found one online. It was $75. Needless to say, probably pay even more for it locally. Didn't realize these were that expensive. So gives me all the more incentive to try and fix this one. When he was trying to get this to open, he was bashing on it, and he kind of bent this down here. So I'm going to see if I can't stick a chisel in there to try and reshape this a little bit so it's not bent in. I was able to bend that out a little bit. So I think what I'm going to try and do now is use this 1 3/4 inch socket on here. I'm going to put it in my press. Alright, so I got it set up. Let's see. See if we can see this move any. Yeah, it moved. Now let's see. Make sure we're not doing any damage. No, looks like it's pushing right where I want it to, so give it a little more. There you go. That might be free. Let's see. Not quite. Ooh, look at the crud in there. Alright. Alright, problem now is I'm not going to be able to get any further down with that socket because now I'm hitting this shoulder here, or going to be hitting it if I wasn't already. So now I need to go back to maybe just using a dull chisel to try and tap this down. Well, looks to me like this is so deformed, this outer sleeve is so deformed from being pounded on. What's happening now is it's impinging on this larger diameter right in there, mainly over on this side. So I think what I'm going to do, well, I wish I had a lathe. If I had a lathe, I would chuck this in a lathe right now, and I would use the cutter right here and cut this last section of this sleeve off. That's all bent up. You know, that would be sweet. But I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind it off, but I want to try and avoid damaging. There's already damage on. You can see where somebody was inserting some sort of a tool in there and trying to bang that down. Much the way I was doing it with the chisel, but I know my chisel, I didn't have it in at an angle that would do that, and it wasn't as sharp. So anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this down here so that the sleeve goes back up into the position it was when I started. And that way I can grind away on that outer edge without worrying about damaging the metal inside there. Got that? See? Alright, I don't want to bang on this and damage this more, so to push this back down, I'm going to put it back in the press, but the socket's not deep enough now to clear this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this 2-inch Schedule 40 PVC. Seems to fit nicely. Alright, so here's my setup to push this sleeve back down. Alright, that's it. Should be all the way down. Alright, so now you can see this area over here that's really peened over and deformed. It's actually from around here to about here, going around. It's pretty good. And then from starting around here over to here, it's all bent in and peened over. So that's what I'm going to grind off. Not too bad for freehand work. I did hit right there a little bit, but I've got this wall of metal thin enough now that I should be able to actually pry it outward. Alright, almost there. I was able to pry out the metal on most of this area here, except for the right here. This is a little still too strong, so I'm going to do a little more grinding here. This is still bent in a little bit here, so I'll weaken that a little bit. And then the idea being, if I make this wall thin enough, when I go to push this sleeve down again, it will want to just buckle outward when it hits that larger inner diameter there. Alright, so it looks like it's gotten worse, but what's actually happening is when I grind, it's flattening the metal out and making the metal flow inward. So, but the metal's really thin now, so now I just can pick in there and pry that out. There we have it. Now it's fairly round again. So now I want to see if I can, let's see, right here it looks like it's still, that's still going to be a problem right there. So I'm going to take this off, and then I think that's all I'll have to take off, and then I could try and press the sleeve down again. Alright, the problem I'm having now is that because I ground this off, this is lower than this side, so I can no longer use my PVC sleeve to push down on that. So I'm going to raise up the height and figure another way. Alright, I got my socket back in there, and since the socket's shorter, it's less critical that I have this gap on this side, and it's already popped once. Doesn't want to go any further than that though, so I'm going to take it out and see what's going on. I think the socket might be impinging on the top of the fitting. Yeah, socket's not quite wide enough here at the points to clear this ring, which now that I've got this carved away, you can actually see. And you see a lot, looks like a lot of rust in there. Looks like I've exposed what appears to be a retaining ring right there. So, willing to bet, if I pop that ring out, I might be able to slide the sleeve back off in the way it was just back up this way. So let's see if I can get this retaining ring out. Well, that's quite the ring. But that's what the diameter was that I was seeing down there that this was hitting on. You can see the ball, little balls in there. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I've actually got this sleeve down far enough that this coupling is starting to come out. It just popped out about 1/8 of an inch. I think I might be able to pull it out. Nope, not ready to come out yet. Well, if I push that ring down any further, I think those little balls will fall out. I would think that would be plenty far enough where it should have released by now. Alright. Let's see if I can slide this sleeve back down the other direction now. And since I took that locking ring off, maybe I can actually pop this out. Well, I only got down that far and stopped dead again, so that didn't work. Of course, I think it's stopping dead because my PVC pipe that I'm pushing with is now hitting this. What looks to be another retaining ring on this end. There's a little cutout right here. That's not by design. It's probably somebody chiseled that out, bashing on this thing, but I'm wondering if I can. Looks like if you just push it down a smidge more, you can maybe get that ring to come out. The ring looks like it's about 1/16 of an inch thick. So if I could have just gotten this down just a little bit further. What I need is I need a piece of pipe with a perfect diameter that would catch this lip right here but clear this ring. Okay, I used my chisel there and that was able to grab on and tap this, kind of tore this out over here, but point is I was able to get this down low enough where I think I can get that ring out now. So I'm going to try and get that ring out. Well, got the ring worked out and starting to appreciate why this thing's so stuck. Look at the big chunks of crud. I mean, look at this thing. Big chunks of crud that are just falling out of it now. That are in there. Alright, and then under that ring we got another one of those crazy little curly cube snap ring deals. That must be what acts kind of like a spring to pop the sleeve back into position, maybe? Don't know. Well, that actually is a spring. Coils around and goes down inside there. More big giant chunks of crap coming out of there. Banged on the floor and a whole bunch came out there. Alright. Now let's try and push this sleeve back down. See if I can slide it off finally. Well, it's going. Question is it going to stop like it did last time, or will it actually keep going? Ah! That's definitely further than it went before. Oh, that's the springs popping out. Well, isn't that nice? I think we're finally going to get this thing apart. now. I'm assuming that when I open this up, the little ball bearings are going to be falling out if they're not rusted in place. Ah, okay, it's off. All right, let's see. Oh no, they're in there. All right. Look at all that crud. Yeah. All right, take it back over to the bench and take it apart.